Rangers and Celtic fans both hit the booze in the Champions League this week, but it's just as well that us guys at Daily Record Sports Deck are all teetotal for us. Welcome to Game On, your weekly hot take podcast from the Record. It's a bit like a pub debate, actually, fitting the booze theme.
Excellent, yeah.
But hopefully nobody begins any jeers after this one.
I thought booze were banned for Scottish football, eh?
Oh, you'd like to think so. But anyway, I'm Michael Gannon, this is Fraser Wilson, with you as usual. We're going to be talking about some of the performances in Europe this week, which should probably drive some folk to drink. But hopefully not us next half hour or so. Listen, we'll crack on, Fraser, right away, shall we? We'll start at Rangers and in Bruges, or against Bruges. 3-1 down first leg. Is there any way back in the second leg?
No. In a word.
Well, let's move on.
No. Like,
we'll get 1 minute 57 left in the clock.
No, let me expand on that. Certainly not if they continue to be so ragged defensively. I mean, the chances this Rangers side are giving up, even against Alloa on Saturday. I was there on Saturday in the Premier Sports Cup against Alloa. I think Alloa had 5 or 6 chances. It's staggering. And I just can't understand Russell Martin, who is a solid run-of-the-mill centre-half, decent international centre-half, wants his side to play this way. We all know it's his philosophy.
But these chances aren't coming because they're giving the ball away at the back or getting caught in possession. It's simple defending. I mean, the goals the other night against Bruges, I mean, the first goal, I mean, it's one of the biggest cliches. It's schoolboy stuff, isn't it? That, I mean, literally, if that's your school team, the teacher shouting at you, I mean, it was a horrendous goal to lose that early.
I'm maybe trying to double guess things wrong here, but we agree Butland should have come. I've wondered where Giga's going. I think the two centre-halves are splitting because they've been told when Butland gets the ball, you go wide and take it. I think this does maybe come through this new style of play, where Giga should have just...
Do you think he's peeling off to wait for the pass?
Yeah.
But listen, I might get kicked out the goalkeepers union for saying it. I think the goalie can see in front of him. He should be telling them what's happening.
He should have come for it.
And I think he took a step forward, didn't he?
I mean, running on the spokes, he doesn't know.
The defender's got to keep his eye on the ball. I mean, he looks away and he's looking at the player. And I think you're right. I think he was peeling off for the pass. Yeah. But it was a terrible goal. The defence, the
corner was worse. The set-up for it was terrible. So, to answer the question...
So you don't think they're any back?
No, not giving up his chances, especially against Champions League sides, and that's what Bruges are. Look at the quality of their finishes.
I just think it's came a wee bit early for Rangers, and I think that the Bruges are a good side. I mean, we saw them last season in Scotland against Celtic. I thought they were unfortunate to come away with a 1-1 draw at Parkhead. I think they've got some decent players. They sold a lot of players, but they bought in some good ones as well. I think that's going to be too strong. I think you're right. I can't see Rangers keeping a clean sheet
which
out
they
there,
need to do,
which you need to do to have a chance. So I think this might be the end of the road in the Champions League, and it could be Europa League Thursdays to look forward to.
We'll call that a draw between me and you there. Then moving on, the Rangers theme. Russell Martin got it a bit tight there already, so sticking with that theme. Is the new manager a month of competitive action into a job? Is he already fighting for survival?
It does seem a bit ridiculous to be talking about a manager potentially losing his job after a month. But the reality is he's under pressure, and he's under severe pressure because the Rangers fans a lot of them didn't want him in the first place. So he's already starting 2 goals down, and it's not started well. Was it 3 wins out of 8? Got through the Pilsen tie and the Panathinaikos ties, looking, I mean, pretty decent at times, but under pressure at other times. Domestically, not been great so far. I mean, the 2 league games and the cup tie, not convincing. He's going to need to get something. He's going to have to get up and running. And he's got Bruges, he's got Celtic. We'll get to them later on the show as well. But he is under severe pressure. We've seen Rangers managers off to bad starts and been behind the 8 ball early on and never really recovering.
Yeah.
I don't think Rangers are going to take any rash decisions this early. But listen, I don't quite buy into this. People say no, that the new owners are back the project and they won't make a decision. I mean, they've been at Leeds, and I know they hadn't taken over full charge until relatively recently, but they were in the building when things like, was it Garcia lasted about 12 games at Leeds, bringing in Allardyce on a short-term deal to try and shore it up.
Not a good look that then, is it?
They got shot at Jesse Marsh early after survival, didn't they? And it went kind of wrong the next season. They have not hung about when things aren't going right, and if things aren't going right, they will. I don't think they'll let it drift for too long. So he needs to get into gear, and soon. He spent a bit of money as well. I think there's still big gaps in that squad, but he spent a bit of money.
That'd be a major own goal on their part. so early in their tenure at Ibrox, if they were to then bin the guy that they've brought in, they spent so long working on to bring in to come to that decision, that wouldn't look good in the new owners, would it?
But what is the phrase? If you miss your stop at the train station, you should go off the next available one rather than staying in the journey.
There is that argument. Look, there's
I
no doubt.
I know Japanese proverb, isn't there something
I'll
like that?
tuck that one away for future use. Thanks for that, Mick. Every day's a school day, but look, this is a monster week for Russell Martin, isn't it? Because you didn't even mention St Mirren one that comes before Bruges and Old Firm. That's the hardest domestic test he's had yet.
Well,
this
that's
Sunday
the thing.
away at Paisley. St Mirren did for Philippe Clement.
I think some of your colleagues are calling it a must-win already, which seems crazy at this stage. But you think if he doesn't beat St Mirren this weekend, the pressure's going to get cranked up another notch. He's up against it, I think. Listen, speaking of people who are up against it and in the firing line, the Celtic board didn't have Coppet the other night after the 0-0 draw with Kairat Almaty. Sack the board chance. Michael Nickerson getting it. Peter Lowell getting it. Unhappy crowd. Were they right to vent at the suits in the stands?
Everyone's so angry in Scottish football these days.
This is why we love it.
You need to take a brawley to sit in the press bench these days for all the phlegm flying about behind you. Honest, it's...
I picked my memos to take my coffee.
Great time
You're talking
on
about flying phlegm. But were they right? Let them have it.
You can see Celtic fans' point. They've been here before with the same board not so long ago as well. Eventually, Celtic boards seem to get big names in and appease the fans because they will win another title, no doubt. But you can see the point. Look, they've had 8 months to replace Kyogo and it's still not happened. We're going over old ground.
Yeah, we know the gaps, yeah.
There's gaps in the wings as well. There's serious gaps in the forward line, and I just thought last night they got shown up badly, which might be plenty of Brendan Rodgers' hands, by the way. He's not been shying away from it.
No.
So, Adam Ida worryingly looks like he's regressing week by week.
Yeah.
They badly missed Jota. They've not replaced Kuhn. They've definitely not replaced Kyogo. I never thought, even in December last year, I'd be saying at this point, Celtic at times look a bit blunt in attack.
Well, if you lose those goals at the team, there's no way to avoid being blunt.
So that comes down to the board or whoever's fault it is that they've not got signings over the line. You were at the game, I wasn't. Let me know what you think.
Listen, a lot of fans who are not Celtic fans will look at this and thinking they've won the double, they've won, trophy after trophy, dominating Scottish football, what are they moaning about? And you think, well, yes, I get that point of view, but Celtic fans are entitled to have a whinge at this because they've spent the money, they've bought the season tickets en masse as usual, £800 a head these days it is for a ticket. By the way, the ticket the other night isn't on the season book either, so they're another £30, £40 to get into that game, and what they're not seeing is their money getting spent. Celtic spent £3.5 million this summer, they brought in over 20, they've got plenty of they've got 70 million plus in the bank and rising, and they've been into this game against Kairat Almaty underprepared and ill-equipped to deal with this tie. They got a lucky tie, by the way, because I think Kairat are a very average side, and they're under-resourced for that tie. So somebody is to blame for that happening, and it lies at the door of the board. So they might think it's getting hard done by, getting moaned at because of the success they've had. And I take that point, but Celtic fans are only saying, we're not saying go and spend £100 million in players. Nobody's saying that. But spend the money, some of the money they've got to make the team prepared for this kind of tie. And they haven't done so. So they're going to need to take the flak. And I think as long as they keep it within, the realms of civility, I think they're going to need to accept that they're going to get flak. Because if you don't do your job, you get shouted at. If you're a striker don't score, you get shouted at. If you're a manager picking duds, you get shouted at. If you're a board who can't get deals over the line, you get shouted at. Need to accept it.
I think we said before, this was a 40 million gamble they're taking by not getting new forward players in, isn't it?
Exactly.
And it's now in the balance, this game, which leads us on to the next question.
Oh, lovely. Seamless. Unlike Celtic's front line, this was a seamless transition. The question, I guess, is can they recover the tie? What do you think, Faraz? Can they salvage this and progress to the group stage?
Huge task now, isn't it? Honestly, it's absolutely in the balance for me. I have to admit, I was really kind of surprised. I didn't do an awful lot of research in Kairat. I was surprised how disciplined and organised they look for a side coming to Scotland. I thought Celtic needed to and would build up a 3-goal lead to take over there and almost kill the tie.
Yeah.
So to have no lead at all going over there with the issues we've just spoken about, looking blunt in attack, Adam Ida looking miles off it at the moment. Real concerns for Celtic. I do think Kairat will offer more of a attacking threat in their home turf they'll be hoping Celtic are a bit leg weary for the journey, but that might then open up spaces for Celtic to counter. So if Diaz Mida can get his head in the game, Celtic can raise their levels for last night particularly, then I think it's in the balance, and I still would expect Celtic to squeeze through. Yourself? You're going? Are you not got a train to catch?
I'm leaving in about 5 minutes. Might get there for kick-off. They're up against it. I think they're now really, really up against it. I don't think, as I said, Kairat Almaty are particularly great. I think they were, like you say, they're pretty dogged. I thought they were probably no better than a kind of mid-top ranking Scottish Premiership team. I think the game the other night was very similar to the cup final against Aberdeen. A team that was defensive and a bit streetwise and killing the game, the momentum. I thought it was very similar. I mean, I wouldn't be betting against the fact that they watched that cup final as a game plan.
Yeah.
As you say, they can't play that way next week. But then again, they probably could, because nobody really expects them to go through. If they go through, it's probably the greatest achievement in their club and their nation's history. So they've not really got the pressure. Celtic are under serious P to get through this tie. They're going to need to play a million times better than they played the other night. I'm a bit fearful for it, because having been there a few times myself before, it's a horrible place to get to. It's exhausting. They're smashing through time zones. It's 11 hours in the air, and that does have an impact. And that's why their home record is so good in Europe, because it's tough going there. It's going to be a stressful night, and I think this could be when Celtic's lack of activity in the transfer market, where it matters, could come back to bite them in the backside.
Well, on a positive, no Scottish side, club or international, has ever won in Kazakhstan.
No. I forgot the first time, hasn't there?
Aye.
But it could be one of those nights that goes all the way. I mean, I'm not going to mention the words in case I jinx myself, because I've got another flight to catch to get back.
What time's kick-off?
I think it's 10 o'clock local time, I think, or 10:15 local time.
Well, we'll be fine back here, won't we?
So I've got a 5 a.m. flight back to try and catch it. There's not any nonsense after the game. But it's going to be brutally tough.
Right, sticking with Celtic, sticking with transfers and forwards and the lack of. Jamie Vardy is still floating about. Would he be a good fit for this Hoops side?
I think he actually would be. I think he'd be good. I think he would score goals for Celtic. I think he would. But I think Celtic fans have been a bit kind of snooty about this one. I think because if they end up with Jamie Vardy, it's kind of admitting that the transfer window has been a shambles, and that's what they're resorting to, kind of a 38, almost 39-year-old striker. I think he still looks in good nick. Scored the last game of the season for Leicester. What I do think is that he'll have options, and he'll have plenty of money on the table. It might be a case of waiting to see what the options are. And likewise, Celtic have got options to go for a striker, and if they don't get those options, they might go back in. So it might be a match made in heaven after the window closes. Mm-hmm. He's a free agent. If it gets to that point, I think there will be a lot of unhappiness. Listen, Celtic have been burned by having aging kind of English superstars before.
I was going to say that.
Ian Wright and Freddie Ljungberg and
Keanes.
Gravison, and so a lot of guys that Carlton Coles, and a lot of guys that have come up and not exactly set the hell on fire at that age. But I think he would score. I think he would score goals with Celtic. I think it would be a good signing. But the problem being is it won't come cheap. There'll be somebody who will say, we'll give you a year contract and give you 50 grand a week.
Yeah.
Celtic are not going to do that. That's not the model we keep hearing about. The model, listen, who knows what the model is? The model is wait till last week and then phone agents and try and get some players in. That seems to be the model these days. So it's not exactly a robust...
It's supposed to be buy young and sell big though, isn't it?
Yeah,
and it certainly doesn't fit
yeah,
that
you
either.
need to get lucky once every 10 or 12 signings and you're all right, but it doesn't work all the time. That'd be a lot of money. There is teams, especially in the Championship now, who are throwing money about who might take them and give them big money.
Yeah.
When you look at the Wrexhams and Birminghams and Nodoshi are thrown around,
that's when
you might find that somebody will pick them up.
Card, didn't it?
Yeah.
Could you tempt them to take maybe 5-10 grand less a week and play in Europe?
Might
need to get in the Champions League.
I don't think he's got to be short a few bob, but it might be too late by that point. It might be something by that point anyway.
Yeah.
So it's personally, I think he would do a job for Celtic, but I can see the dangers financially and in terms of the fans' reaction to it as well.
Yeah.
But listen, we want big names in Scotland. I think it's always good fun to have these kind of characters in the game. But listen, we'll leave the old firm hassles and travails and go across to Edinburgh. Hearts, I was at the game at the weekend. High hopes. Manager talking about winning the cup, and St Mirren had other ideas out in penalty kicks.
Was Tony Bloom there?
I don't think he was there. I didn't see him in the stands there. But
He'll be claiming that's why they lost.
Has the bubble burst? Has the Jambo's bubble burst? I mean, all the enthusiasm and joy,
Look,
they're going to win the league. They're going to challenge. They split the old firm. The Disruptors, and the big chance of winning the first trophy is gone already.
Saw our own Tam McManus couldn't resist a wee dig on Twitter.
Well, Tam is always going to be jumping in there first, wouldn't he?
It's Hearts treble going. And it's not even the end of August. Look,
it's a sore one. It is a sore one.
Jinx. It is. But look, they're still unbeaten over 90. Over 120 minutes of actual football.
The cup doesn't matter that.
Well, yeah, but the bubble's no burst. If you're a player, you're not taking too much of a dunt to your confidence because you've lost a penalty shootout. There's no doubt going out with that was a blow. Derek McInnes was not hiding for the fact he wanted to deliver a cup for Hearts as soon as he possibly could. But look, there's 6 wins and a draw away to St Mirren and Paisley. One of the toughest games you're going to get.
In the group stages of the League Cup. You can't
I
count
see
them.
where you're going with your argument. Your argument is that the bubble has not burst. That in the league, that would be an acceptable result. Not a great result, an acceptable result.
Yeah.
I get the performance wasn't great. Question marks over maybe a wee bit of the team selection, I believe. But I just think sometimes folk underestimate how difficult that trip to Paisley is, and they basically got a draw out of it.
Yeah.
So no, Hearts fans right to be upset about going out of the cup. But in the grand scheme of things, I definitely don't think it's a bubble burster.
I don't think the bubble was there, should have been there in the first place. I think that's the problem. I think some people get a wee bit overexcited at the start they've had. I think Derek McInnes Grandier had a brilliant start. I know we're talking about the League Cup, I'm only joking. They had a great start. But it's still very early days. And this is a Hearts team that was pretty hopeless last year. Yeah. A lot of new faces. He admitted himself, he chucked in a few too many new faces at Paisley. And it was a massive culture shock. And I think they will learn that it was a crash course in Scottish football. Mm-hmm. So they were better for it. But it doesn't hide the fact that Hearts should be trying to compete to get to Hampden every single year and perhaps winning these trophies. I think this trophy was a big chance for Hearts. Mm-hmm. I think Aberdeen and Hibs could potentially be running in Europe right through. You've got Rangers, who are very early days and they're rebuilding, not doing particularly well. Celtic aren't as convincing as they have been. This was a big chance for a team like Hearts to go and get to a final and maybe even win a trophy. And they blew it. So it's a major blow. So it does take the jam out of their donuts. There's no doubt about it. But they can recover. Like you say, I think they will be stronger because of it. But it doesn't. It just maybe is a wee reality check.
Aye,
and
100%.
As well as a sore lesson for some of the new guys at the club.
Right. Sticking with Edinburgh. This is a nice positive one. I like this. Well, no sticking with Edinburgh. Sorry, I've just given my answer away. What is the best goal you've seen in the flesh, and why is this question jumped on the
list? Yeah, like this is back to the pub debate thing, isn't it? This is a good one. Listen, by the way, get your comments in here as well. But this one, what's the best goal you've seen in the flesh?
Yeah.
It's a tricky one. It's in the back of the spectacular goals. I mean, Hibs are having their own goal of the season competition, aren't they, so far this season? Yeah. I mean, someone, Kelly go out, so chuck them on as well. But the best goal in the flesh, I remember being at Pittodrie for a Scotland under 21 game against Iceland, and Chris Maguire, formerly of Aberdeen, so local, well not local, he's a Glasgow boy, but he played for Aberdeen at the time, and he pinged one for the halfway line from kick-off. It was a kick-off shove to him, and he just let fly from the halfway line. I remember thinking, that is probably the best I've seen. Uh-huh. I remember one at Tynecastle, was it Humphreys?
Yes,
Stephen
about 4 or 5 years ago.
Stephen Humphreys.
3, 4, against Dundee United.
Quite a big fella, and he shuffled it by and he just pinged one from about 45. Unbelievable. I remember seeing Kieran Tierney hitting one for 40 yards against Kelly. I mean, the net lifted the rigging off the net. Was that Pedro Mendes howitzer against Celtic? Larson's chip against Rangers. These are the ones. These are the ones I think. I remember.
Both sitting scratching their chins here.
So I've got a wee shave here. But what do you think?
My memory is so poor, but I don't think it matters on this occasion because thankfully I was at Easter Road last Thursday for that Bowie's greatest hit.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, man. And there's so much to it. Obviously,
recency bias, what you call it? Recency bias, what you call it? Last week's
too many dunce in the head bias. I can't think further back. Honest, seriously.
Just Hibs bias, so yeah.
Stevie Tosh, Jim Thompson at Hampden in 2008 against Rangers. But, neither of them were particularly stunning, but it was just a moment. Anyway, no, that goal, Bowie last Thursday night had the strength, the balance, and just the technique. But more than that, it was the moment, the timing of it, when Hibs were in serious danger of crashing out or throwing away a 2-goal lead, just lifted the whole place, changed the whole complexity, complexion of the game. And funnily enough, Jamie McGrath, who was injured, was sitting in the press benches. I've no idea why, but he was sitting in amongst us.
Yeah.
And when that ball went in, everyone, McGrath, a couple of our colleagues, me, we all turned and looked at each other. Not a word spoken, just jaws on the floor, eyes bulging. It was just one of those moments. And from that moment on, Easter Road was absolutely rocking. It just had everything, that goal. And for me, I can't think of any better. Incredible, what a player, by the way, Kieron Bowie. Here's another link. Another link. Whose question is this one again?
Exactly. Well,
whose question is this?
Well, you're teed up. You may as well follow it through.
Well,
you set yourself up. You put the ball in the box.
Follow throughs. Who? Steve Clark will name his Scotland squad, I think maybe on Tuesday, for the massive World Cup qualifiers that open in the campaign away to Denmark and Belarus. What a hard start that is, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. Who's banging on the door to get in? What wild card or dark horses?
Surely, we're talking about him in terms of great goals, but surely Kieron Bowie has got to be in the squad for a start. I think you've got to just hang your hat on the guy and say, right, you know what, you're going to be our new guy up top. This kid's going places. He's already worth a fortune at Hibs. He's got the lot, and he's strong. He can finish, great touch. Can build the game. I think he's made for us, the Scotland team. I look at the Scotland strikers. I mean, Lyndon Dykes has never let us down. Shea Adams also. But we're kind of lacked a wee bit of stardust up there, I think. No disrespect to the guys that could do it, just need a wee bit of quality. I think this kid could be the one. I would say, right, in you go, you're a new man, we'll build around you. I don't know what you think. He's the one. He's the one standout. Right,
I saw him with Ben Doak for the under-21s about 2 years ago. Funnily enough, Steve Clark was
Ben Gannon.
Ben Gannon Doak. Sorry,
Excuse me.
Your wee cousin.
Listen, Ben Gannon Doak.
Yes, I must.
Or maybe nephew or grandkid or something these days.
He's certainly not got your stature either.
Great to see a Gannon make their way in the game. Finally, a Gannon getting.
Well, I think Gannon Doak, is bound to be back in the squad now. He's fit.
Yeah, he's got to be, isn't he? He's got to be.
I find it hard to come up with a complete wild card, but maybe the fact that my choice has only played 2 minutes of competitive football in about 22 months, but great to see him return for Brentford, even if it was off the bench last week.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, I know we've got a few options at right back now with Max Johnson coming through.
Quickly with the clock, who's going to be the goalie?
I place my faith in Big Xander, and I think Angus Gunn will probably be in there. And
Angus Gunn's obviously now going to be the kind of on the bench for.
I like Big Xander Clark. Look, it's not the best start for Hearts. How was he in Paisley last?
I thought he played well.
Good.
I thought it was a good game. So is he the one? Is he number one now?
It's a very difficult one. Angus Gunn.
Liam
so
Kelly
difficult.
not playing
so
much for Rangers. We know he's played last week.
It's a toss of coin between Angus and Xander and Liam Kelly.
This is a hard hitting hot take podcast. Who's your number one for these games? Who plays in goal?
Xander. Clark.
Xander. I think Angus Gunn gets a nod. Although I don't think he's the great run of it, the Euros and all that stuff. But I think he might still be the one to hold the gloves just now.
That's toss of a coin for me.
But we're blowing folk with the goalie chat.
I whistle went about 5 minutes ago.
Let's change tack and do a bit of golf. You know, like my golf. Ryder Cup on the horizon. This week is going to be the teams getting kind of finalised. A lot of people looking at America and the kind of the playing captain, maybe Keegan Bradley might be picking himself and all that sort of stuff. But what about Luke Donald? Who does he go with for his picks?
Absolutely love the Ryder Cup. You know, I enjoy my golf, but you cannot beat a team sport. And I mean, when you combine the two together, it's just compulsive viewing, isn't it?
It is.
Compulsory viewing even. Look, first of all, both. Absolutely brilliant to see Bob Cantor in there again, isn't it? See a Saltire among that squad again. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's very rare that you don't have a Scottish player in the team. So, in terms of wildcard picks, look, you're the expert in this. I fancy a wee bit of I think John Ram gets in there, doesn't he?
Aye, that's a no-brainer. A no-brainer. Obviously, he's not on the European Tour or the PGA Tour, and he's not the great turning the majors this year.
But if you're picking your strongest
team.
team.
He's still here for John Ram.
Aye. Well, I would go for the last. Whoever doesn't make the last automatic pick out of Shane Lowry and Erasmus Højgaard, I think I would choose those. And I fancy a bit of Matt Fitzpatrick, who I think's also playing some of his strongest stuff.
He's not a great season this. He's come out a bit again in the last few months.
Yeah. But he's experienced in it, isn't he?
Yeah.
So over to you, golf expert.
I just think you've got to reward the guys. I mean, I know it's now you get half a dozen picks and there's half a dozen nailed down, but I think the guys who are up the top of the kind of standings and just missing out on automatic, I think you've got to reward those guys. So that I think obviously you get the Hovland and Oberg are going to be in there. They fall in that category. Sepp Stracker, good season over there in America. But then you get into the ones on the kind of the 10, 11, 12. That's where your kind of choices are coming from. Fitzpatrick, to me, I think has got to be a guy who's experienced it, a great competitor. I mean, he's got an angel face, but he's a good scrappy fighter in this competition. Matt Wallace, like you say, on the cusp as well. I think he could get a nod. Thomas Dietrich. I think these are the guys. I mean, there's people like Harry Hall who hit form big time, and you think you need to pick guys in form. He's managed to make the kind of FedEx Cup last 30 and all that stuff. He's ready to make a few quid the next week or so. I would be interested to see how he would cope with it. He seems quite a quiet guy. I know he's got the bonnet and the tash and it looks a bit different, but he seems quite quiet.
Right.
Would he respond to the environment? I don't know. I think the European team looks strong no matter what. I think they've got some good options.
Yes.
But I wouldn't write off the old Americans yet. I know people are kind of saying that there's some top players in that team as well. It's all poised to be. It's going to be
brilliant.
And a great bunch.
Compulsive and compulsory.
And by the way, New York crowd. Oh, wait, me see this. There's going to be some fun and games. I mean, our big Bob is going to have to try and keep his cool. I don't want to jump in any barriers and chasing folk over there.
Oh, come on! I love that stuff. Bit of passion.
You never know, but
Gentlemen's sport.
We're cheering them on.
Backside. Bit of passion, please.
Aye.
Right. Finally, we spoke about him earlier. Actually, Ben Doak.
My distant relative.
Ben Gannon Doak. I've done it again. Sorry, Ben. And the Gannons and the Dokes. Now, I think I'm right in saying it became Scottish football's most expensive winger in the last few days. The last week was £25 million move to Bournemouth. I can't think any
Most
other
expensive
Scottish
teenager,
player.
probably. Yeah.
That's what I said, did I not?
You said winger.
Oh, teenager. I meant teenager.
I was trying to think of any more wingers.
No, teenager. I meant teenager.
Yeah.
Most expensive teenager. £25 million move from Liverpool to Bournemouth.
Tierney 20? Oh, no, aye. Anyway.
No, he was in his 20s, wasn't
Right.
he?
Okay.
And it was the same price. Look,
Anyway.
get to the question.
Anyway, sorry.
For one more.
Oh, it's better.
Is he worth the money? Is Ben Gannon Doak worth £25 million at this stage of his career? And how big a future does he have?
Listen, whether we like it or not, 25 million in this market in England now doesn't buy you much.
Peanuts.
I mean, you're thinking Bournemouth. Bournemouth have spent £25 million on a kid with potential. I mean, I'm back in my former life working down south. I was at Bournemouth, an away game at Bournemouth in League One in England. An absolute dive of a stadium.
Aye.
A drive that took me about 4 days to get there. We could probably get to Almaty quicker. Took me ages to get there. An old crumbling old ground and a team in League One going nowhere fast. And now they're spending £25 million on a teenager. I think it's madness, the money in England, but it's great business. I think he's a kid that's got huge potential, explosive pace. A bit of work needing done on kind of that final ball, but that'll come.
Decision making.
That'll come. I think he's at a good club actually. I think he'll with the previous Scottish players doing well at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Through the years.
Still one at least.
Still one there at least, yeah. So I think it's a good one for him. Playing at a good level every week. I hope it's a good run at it. I hope he stays in the team most weeks and stays fit for the sake of Scotland as well. Because he does look a top talent, and we're crying out for a bit of excitement, a bit of pace. He's got the lot. So yeah, I think this kid is going to go right to the top. I think I hope he does. He's 2 seasons at Bournemouth, lights it up, and then takes the next step again to another level. And hopefully we've got a superstar. Absolutely.
I mean, he's still to turn 20, which he will this season, but it seems like he's already achieved so much in his career. He's gone through injuries, so he's handled that. He's had his debut with Celtic. He's played top team with Liverpool and played very well for a very good Liverpool team. And now he's got a £25 million move. He's won 6 caps, 6 very difficult caps in the Nations League, top tier Nations League. And just ask Josko Vardy what he thinks of Ben Doak's ability. What he's got, as you say, that X factor. He's got what Scotland have been missing for years, if not decades. It's that low centre of gravity, the explosive pace you talk about. A decent finish on him. He can only get better as well, and I think a solid season of regular football in the Premier League with Bournemouth, really excited about Ben Gannon Doak and where he can go. Only turning 20 this year, so he's got years ahead
It's all
of him
in
as
front
well.
of him. Yeah, well, hopefully it'll give
Fingers
us
crossed.
plenty of cheers rather than the jeers, which has been the topic
Full
this week.
circle, yeah.
Always bring it back. Take off in landing. Take off in landing.
Superb, that.
Anyway, we wrap up for another week. Listen, you can catch us as always in the usual outlets, your Spotify's, YouTube, and all of the other things as well. Apple Podcasts. I said, not in the booze, but listen, hopefully we'll be raising a glass to our teams in Europe over the next week.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. But we will be back next Friday to do it all again. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.